Hey everyone, this is Alexusadays, and today I'm having a little conversation with Ruslan. Ruslan is very well known in the world of testing, and maybe you can introduce yourself a little bit.
Sure, Alex, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for inviting me to talk to you. My name is Ruslan Desyatnikov, founder and CEO of QA Mentor. I've been around in QA industry for the last 28 years. Started as a junior tester, then made up playing various of different roles within quality assurance software testing domain. 14 years ago, I decided to quit corporate environments and concentrated on my own company, QA Mentor. And for the last 14 years, trying to push this forward.
I see. I mean, I saw your posts on LinkedIn, and I've been following you for maybe a couple of years now, maybe more. And I see you keep on opening up new offices. I think you have like now office in Africa. You have new office in India, right? You're expanding. So can you tell me about like what exactly you're doing right now and where you have your offices and like representation of your business?
Sure, absolutely. So the whole idea of QA Mentor was to establish sort of a next McDonald's. We wanted to be in every country, not to do business, but actually promote quality assurance software testing and help organizations within various of different countries to mature their QA processes. So that's triggered us sort of expand across the board in various of different localities around the globe. We started our journey in Ukraine, we moved to India, and then slowly started expanding in multiple other areas in Romania and Tunisia. As you rightly stated, we opened one facility in Nigeria, and we're trying to expand across the board. COVID actually, changed our plans. We had to close number of offices when the COVID hit us. Also, the war also changed our plans. We had to close number of Ukrainian offices there as well. But now we actually trying to get back because it was sort of a mix of people working remotely from home as well as in the offices. Now we purchased the office in India. We're trying to finish up and build completely brand new office from scratch. It's just walls there right now, so it will take a few months to complete it, but it will be, a state-of-the-art facility with various of different equipments, labs, training centers, and many, many other things. We'll continue to expand further. Our plans are to open facility and representation in Dubai. We also wanted to open another testing center in Manila, Philippines. We're looking into other areas such as Mexico as well. Again, we're trying to be international. We like different cultures. We like, different languages. As a matter of fact, we have built a very big crowdsourcing community, which consists of over 12,000 professional testers around the world. We offering this service to various of different clients around the world who wants to localize their applications in different languages. So that platform comes handy, and that's why we're looking into collectively throughout various of different countries around the world to build that representation of ours to promote QA, promote our strategies, methodologies, principles, and train as many people as we can to achieve some really good quality results across the board.
Right. Yeah, so like my channel is mostly focused around people that interested in testing in the United States because I worked in the United States forever in my career. And I think you've did different regions. Like if you can you spot differences in the approach to testing between, India or USA or any other country? Is there differences, country culture dependencies?
So in terms of testing differences, I would not notice any specific differences when it comes to specific strategy or methodology. It's pretty much the same across the board, whether you're in, India or Ukraine or Africa or elsewhere. the principle stays the same. When it comes to culture of the tester mindset, we see different types of cultures. We see, for instance, in India, testers tend to be very hard workers, and they tend to follow the directions. In some other European, for example, Eastern Europe, we see people who also following sort of rules and ground rules, but they also trying to be more sort of open-minded and use their imagination to experiment. So not necessarily they stick to the rules. They actually more open up in terms of their own sort of ways of doing things. So different cultures are behaving differently when it comes to testing sort of execution or testing commitments. But in terms of the strategy, pretty much across the board is pretty much
One of the things that I've noticed in terms of getting into a job and like determining who is who, that India and Europe is more organized than the United States, or at least tries to be in that way, because I see there's like a IQSTB or something like that, a certification that is kind of international body for testers. United States doesn't really care that much about any of this. They you can be QA analyst, QA tester, quality assurance engineer, all of those different titles. You'll be doing exactly the same job for exactly the same salary. So there's, as long as you have like resume experience, some bootcamp certification, or you went through some sort of like experience that relates to QA, and you passed the interview, you're a good fit. But I've seen debates online if, should you call yourself QA engineer if you're not went to the college and get like master's degree in computer science. And that's mostly coming from like Europe and Asia. So it was kind of surprising to me. Like, do you see that there's this kind of gradation of testing in, or like levels of testers in Europe?
It's actually a good question, and I've been working in the corporate environments for big banks, financial institutions, and you're absolutely correct. In some cases, in some companies, especially bigger organizations, they're looking for specific education behind, such as computer information system, computer science, obviously some training, some certifications, which is preferable. In some other organizations, startups, for example, or smaller size organizations, mid-size organizations, your previous, education is not really matter. As long as you, can think and you have a good IQ and you have some level of, training, that's what it requires. And that's the reason why, QA becomes very popular, because many, people outside of IT were able to get into the testing by simply going into the boot camps and attending some trainings and various of other things. So in Europe, it's pretty much the same thing. I mean, we have a boom, for instance, in Ukraine or Eastern Europe, where in the last 7 to 10 years, so many professionals moved into QA from various of different areas. As a matter of fact, in QA Mentor, we have some QA professionals who were previously lawyers. Mention that. So they migrated and become a QA tester back there. I was just curious, I asked them, lawyers don't make a lot of money, in Europe, and they said, not really, So again, up till now, situation was pretty good. Many people within a couple months went study hard, get some level of education, and were able to find a job. Nowadays, situation slightly changed. The market has changed. Now it becomes extremely difficult to compete. The reason being is many companies let people go. So right now, market is saturated with very experienced people. I talk on LinkedIn with various of different people with 20 years of experience, and they have hard time finding jobs. and they've been around for a very long time. So just imagine, guys who've been there for a few years and lost the job versus some of the professionals who've been there, seen, done everything, competing, and it's still very difficult for the most experienced guys to get the job nowadays. So
Mm.
things quite different in the last few years.
I've been I've seen good markets, and this is not as good as it used to be. But I've also experienced this when I was posting jobs for a recruiter that I know in the States that had like clear out requirements saying, you have to be you have to know certain tools, you have to have certain stack. So they were looking for like a senior position engineer. There is a requirement for citizenship. I guess it was like a government contract or something.
Mhm.
So when I listed all this out and I said like, they're looking for a job, let me know, send me your resume. None of the people who contacted me matched the requirements, as if they didn't even read it. So like, I feel like maybe globalizing the market, or maybe this is a LinkedIn problem, led to like spamming of the actual job seekers with irrelevant candidates.
The problem is actually everybody trying to find that Superman with all the skills and all their tool sets and various of different roles and responsibilities. And that creates a problem because unfortunately there are very few out there who can do multiple different roles. Just, we filling a lot of positions, used to fill a lot of positions. Nowadays it's very difficult to fill positions for our customers and clients who are looking for full-timers or even consultants. So they also been looking for those supermen, superwomen out there. And I had to talk to them and explain that, there's got to be segregation of duties. You cannot find, automation engineer mixed with performance testing skills, mixed with security penetration testing skills, and also be a great test case designer or defects, identify defects
Right.
all at the same time. It just can't really happen. So you have to really concentrate, and sometimes you might need two positions, not just one. So that's created, problems. At the same time, I see that, it's like all over the place. Any positions requires automation. But guess what? When it comes and the person joined the organization, they don't even have time for the automation. So very often you have a skill set or there is a specific requirements for a tool, Selenium, Java, or Playwright, and candidates afraid to apply because they might not even understand or get the training on those tools. So they simply ignoring, which is a mistake. I still feel and I still recommend for people to still shoot the resume over, because in some cases is just part of the job description. And I saw this as well. Our own clients were looking and they asking for this types of profile. When we made the placements, whether it's US or UK or Canada or any other places, you hardly find time for the automation. So you end up, doing and supporting 2-week sprints, and there's nothing even discussed around the automation because there's no time, literally. So, just a recommendation: if you see the job description which matches pretty much 80-90% of your profile, aside the automation, still submit and you still have chances.
Yeah, my question was more alongside the way, like if you post and search for a candidate, it will be hard to find a good candidate. Not maybe partially because of the market, but also maybe because market got globalized and like LinkedIn, and everyone is trying to apply, even if they don't meet the requirements. And it's okay, as if you said like there's 90% you're a good match, but if a job says you have to know Playwright with JavaScript, that's our main stack, for example, and they only know like Selenium Java, that might be a hard fit. And then you get hundreds of resumes without the skills that you're looking. Not even like a super specialist that can do accessibility, security penetration, and automation, just one core skill. It seems as if people don't read and they just try to get a whatever job there is.
Well, absolutely, and some people just simply desperate because it's hard for them to get the job, so they simply submitting profiles which might not be even matching. But if we have a specific job which is as that or automation engineer, and then there is a requirement specifically for the automation tool, then obviously yes, you have to match that. But when there is a general job, let's say a senior QA engineer, and as part of the job there is the automation skills which are required, this is where I say it might not be necessary. It might not be the main responsibility and the main job function, when it comes to the automation. But
Right.
if there's a, pretty straightforward automation position with specific skill set, then you have to really match that, because otherwise nobody will consider your profile if you have Selenium, Java, and somebody is looking for Python, for example,
Right.
or other, open source tools or enterprise level tools, and you're not matching that specific tool.
Right.
It will be very difficult to
Um,
even be selected for the round of the interview.
yeah. And then to talk about Mark a little bit. So, how do you feel like where are we going with all this? A lot of subscribers are concerned, or people that watch me that say, you know what, the market is not good as it used to be, and I agree with that. But I think, and that's just my opinion, but because of the introduction of the AI, because of the built-in hallucinations in AI in general on all levels, especially if you use like generic AI LLMs, we're gonna see more bugs, and I kind of do see a lot of issues actually getting into production. So I think as a result of that, we will actually need more QA moving forward. Maybe not very soon. I mean, business have to do a turnaround. A couple of companies gonna go bankrupt because of the issues that they release. But in the long run, there will be a realization that quality is essential.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I kind of agree with what you said, that nowadays many organizations trying to implement AI within the platforms, their platforms, whether it's e-commerce or banking platforms or any healthcare. If you're not really thinking about AI or trying to implement features, it means your application ultimately becomes legacy. So everywhere across the board, people trying to implement AI. Obviously, there is a need for validation, verification, and that's triggers. One might think that it might trigger testing, and it's absolutely true. You need to test this, because leaving this to the developers might not be a wise thing to do, even though developers are also capable of testing certain things, having enough time. But we know how it works. So my opinion is that there will be impact, obviously, for QA industry, having the AI tool set getting mature. Right now, I see a lot of tools there, and we're evaluating a lot of tools, but majority of those tools not mature enough. Will they get mature? Absolutely. At some point of time, yes. When? I don't know. So the question comes to what percentage of maturity you want to achieve and rely on those tools. Are you okay with 40% or 50%? So if the tool, for example, will help you, let's say, to build manual test cases automatically, or to convert manual test cases into the automation scripts, and you can rely on this 50%, is it good enough for you? Or you have to wait till 90% for this tool in order to implement and start using it, right? So my opinion is that some of the QA testers, engineers who are not leveraging human intelligence and the AI for the future will probably lose jobs and will be, at risk. Okay. The other side is people who will be able to apply AI tools to still continue with the smart automation, and also apply strategies, methodologies for human side of the testing, which is crucial and also important, will be around, because regardless of AI, I still believe there got to be human in the loop. Somebody will need to operate with AI, with AI agent, and somebody needs to make a determination or final decision for any outputs based on those tools or for any kind of activities. You still have to, drive and oversight all of these tools. So it's definitely we will see some impact on the QA industry, but only the guys who are not keeping themselves up to the mark with the latest innovative technology, because we still need to continue to solve three things. Number one, be more effective and efficient to produce more, which will lead to quicker and faster turnaround time, right? We have to be cheaper in the sense we can do more now with less, or we can cover what, we can leverage tools, what it can be done, with three resources, for example. Now you can do with one, with the combinations of tools, right? And then the quality should not be impacted, right? So quality, cost, and efficiencies, which translates to the speed to turnaround time. Needs to be, always into consideration. And if testers will think about those three specific attributes and be able to achieve that, then they should not worry about it, right?
Yep.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure eventually, the tools, the smart tools, AI tools will replace traditional automation tools at some point of time for sure. They will also replace scriptless, codeless tools, which now getting some popularity. But as we get much more, stable at the AI level, things will get better. But
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with you. We should see, spike of positions specifically to test AI, because all platforms will carry AI capabilities. And
Well,
then if you're not taking seriously about it, they will get hit with problems, lawsuits, issues, disasters in production. Maybe then everybody will start thinking about quality seriously, because
not
right now it looks like people getting away. Miracle happens that nothing really happens in production, and in some shops QA is not even there, and things still goes live without being properly tested by independent unbiased testing function.
well, not only AI testing, so definitely there will be a new profession, AI QA engineer that does know how to test LLMs and apply tools,
Mhm.
and but also because of all the code output that AI is generating, we see that some of the code quality and product quality is going down significantly. Like um, the recent case in Canada when AI came up with a policy over it being customer being able to return ticket that didn't even exist. And then the customer went to the court and they won the case because since even though it was some third party AI tool that they use for like a chatbot, because it was on their webpage, like I think it was Air Canada or something, but the court says you're responsible for whatever that chat said. So if they made up a policy, you have to give them a refund. Another case was like over relying on just pure automation was a CrowdStrike last summer when they rolled out a config without testing. Automation gave a false positive. I don't know if they had any AI testing there or not, but maybe it was just their own proprietary automation tool, and they brought down like millions of computers. And their lawsuit's still going on, and we don't know how it's going to resolve. But people were like out of flights for 3 4 days, and all of those systems went into BIOS and had to be fixed manually. Each computer, there had to be a person. They lost connection to internet. So like disasters like that. Um, and then so the more AI code is there done by AI without oversight, I think the more we will have kind of catastrophic level problems coming up until business actually realizes, okay, what AI is great, but it I agree it increases your productivity, but we need to make sure that everything still works as expected, and that should be done by a real person. Like because if something goes wrong, you can't go to AI and say, "Why didn't you test this?" Right? There's no responsibility there.
Absolutely. No, I mean, we will never see where AI is completely independently, testing and signing off on things which, allows to go live. Absolutely will never happen. But when it comes to code maturity, yes, code will have problems. But again, AI might mature that it will be less problems, right? But either or, I still, believe in principles of human in the loop, and that's the way to do it. That's the way to verify and validate. Just recently been on cruise line where I order a drink, and I specifically made the selection that no alcohol, and by accident they poured alcohol into my drink, but there was a bartender there who was kind of monitoring and watching and seeing things. So it's not, those robots were working and doing drinks. There was somebody overseeing, how things are going. So you've got to have somebody sort of watching and monitoring closely and step in when it's necessary or change certain things when that involvement is required. So I still believe that autonomously, nothing will happen without, humans oversight.
Right. Another thing that people often ask, like, what is in demand right now? So since you have multiple clients and you manage a business that provides QA contracts and QA engineers, what is out there that people are looking for? What needs to be tested? What kind of tools? Like, what is hot right now?
Sure. In terms of the tools, you mean, or in terms of
Yeah,
the
what businesses
industries
are
which?
looking in a tester, and I think tools that testers should learn. Yeah.
Absolutely. So businesses, everybody, again, wants automation to be implemented. Everybody dreaming about automation, and now with AI, everybody dreaming with automation with the help of AI. This is where pretty much we get requests from all the new clients, new requests where they said, Ruslan, can you adopt some magic tools which will help us throughout the software development lifecycle? Not necessarily just on the automation, but even starting from the requirements, verification, and validations. And we identify some of the AI related tools which actually verifying and validating requirements. Before we used to do it using the static testing techniques, which is the manual review and verification validations of the requirements, making sure acceptance criteria are declared, making sure all the business rules are captured, making sure all the field validation rules are captured. And that's super important. I've been stressing static testing for years, actually, because nobody really taking seriously. People reading requirements as a Bible and, let it go. So many organizations wants to see how AI integrates throughout software development lifecycle, starting with requirements validation automatically, going into actually design checks, going into unit tests, verification, validation, static code analysis, dynamic code analysis, verification, validation, API level verification, validation, again through AI, and then going into the UI verification, validation, compatibility testing on different browsers, operating system with the help of, again, AI, accessibility testing with the help of AI, performance testing with the help of AI, security penetration testing with the help of AI, database. So everything right now is, do you have something which will simplify the process? So before it used to be just automation, now it's automation / AI. So this is hot. Again, this is what the demand is. This is what requirements are. So in the future, and this is a recommendation for testers out there, companies will be looking, and I call the role within the HIS human intelligence software testing domain. We define the new role, which called AI integrator. What AI integrator is basically subject matter experts of the AI tools and solutions specifically for software development lifecycle implementation. So adoption of those tools across the board to help testing throughout software development lifecycle. So that's what people will be looking for, and knowing, and having arsenal of tools in your toolbox and be able to adopt and deploy those tools and train teams on those tools will be very hot commodity which I would, recommend. So that's one thing. And the second thing, actually, the strategy around the testing AI itself. What are the strategies in place from the manual testing perspective, and what tools can be used, and AI tools can be used to test AI as well. So that's also getting hot because, again, with many different features around AI, companies are looking for that type of verification and validation. And if you know exactly how to do it to assure that everything is working properly there, all the models are working properly, the data behind those models are properly trained, and all of this various of different permutations, combinations, which leads to hallucinations and various of other things, it's extremely important. So that's there. Now, and then two other things which continuously to be very important. Performance testing, because again, there's a lot of challenges, a lot of problems still there, even though nowadays performance, to boost performance and fix performance, it's much easier because we have all of this cloud-based solutions, which we can spin machines, and not like you have to really improve, the database layer to boost the performance. Nowadays, you can throw, resources to, scale up. And security penetration testing, which is extremely important as well, because risks with, security compliance issues is still there. So I still believe those two areas, we don't have a lot of specialized resources still out there, and there's still demand for those, capabilities. So that's essentially what companies are looking for, what it requires.
Did you identify any specific tools, or were there any specific tool requests?
Yes, so we actually identifying the number of tools. I was able to identify one tool which helping us to do static testing using the AI, which is requirements verification and validation. Basically, any of the user stories, any of functional specification documents allows us to put the maturity score on the requirements itself, what level of maturity is there, and then identify the gaps, and then whoever owns the requirements can fill the gaps, or the AI itself can fill the gaps as well to bring the requirements to the right level. And that's done on purpose, because the better requirements are, the next phase is what? Generation of the manual test cases. So if you have a complete requirements, then your test cases are also will be, comprehensively covering all the angles and all the areas and permutations and combinations.
Can you share the name for the tool or not?
Sure, I can share, we did a lot of research for that. I don't mind for our competitors to hear the name and also go for that, that's not a secret. We're not afraid of competition. So the tool called Spec2Test from Agile Labs. Pretty impressive tool, and it's actually goes even further after it's building the manual test cases. And we did a lot of experiments there, because we run experiments against the ChatGPT to see what's the coverage will be there through the manual test cases. And we also did internally, we asked some of our best gurus to build the test cases based on the requirements as well. So we have a comparison. The tool, Agile Labs Spec2Test versus ChatGPT versus our expert guys. And then the fourth is I went in as a final expert to see the gaps and identify, whether the tools have gaps or not. So guess what? There are gaps across the board still, but the percentage coverage, which we can rely now on this tool, it's pretty impressive. I would say about 80% we can rely on the tool itself.
I had
and 20% you still need to kind of modify. Just one point on that tool, again, I'm not advertising, it's fascinating how useful this tool is. This tool actually have a built-in predictive analysis capabilities. What predictive analysis is basically you have a set of test cases, right, which the tool itself built for you. You can validate, verify, you can add additional things. Let's say you stabilized, you have regression testing repository. What you do is you upload the code, the new release, new sprint of your application. And what's happening is the tool itself actually perform this predictive analysis to tells you which test cases which you have in the regression testing repository will pass or fail. Imagine that without execution. It's just based, traceable back to the code. It's actually can tell you whether you will have problems, whether you have failures, because the code have some issues and problems, and as a result of this, it's materialized into the functional issues or UI issues, and that's actually, incredible. And the other layer, they trying to achieve the automation. It's not that mature yet, but other parts which I just described, it's pretty impressive. I'm pretty happy with that.
That sounds pretty interesting. Where the AI looks into the code, creates the requirements and test cases, and tells you which test case most likely not gonna fail. Yeah. I think that's cool.
For the last 27 years, I was looking for something to help me out in the regression testing, right? So forget about automation. Let's say you have 10,000 test cases out there. Now, guess what? There are some changes. So we apply risk-based approach, impact analysis. Obviously, we talk to the developers, but nobody can tell you exactly, well, those test cases actually are candidates for regression because I see their potential impact. So because I changed the underlying code in this module, those are the candidates to run regression testing. So instead of 10,000 test cases, you actually need to subset, let's say 500, for example, and concentrate and run regression testing the smart way, not, the hard way. So there is nothing exists yet when it will recommend the regression testing selection yet, or at least after evaluating a lot of tools and products, I didn't find anything which is reliable. There are tools, but they're not reliable. So again, I'm looking really for AI to advance, maybe another 2, 3, 5 years, but we're going to get to those levels and it will simplify a lot for QA professionals, which struggling right now.
Yeah. I have a video on my channel, and I've recorded a process of using Copilot with an AI agent and MCP server to create test cases in Playwright, automation test cases. So, I'm a strong advocate for Playwright, and I have a lot of videos about how to create automation with Playwright, because it's so easy to get started and set things up, and they have ongoing regular updates, so they're pretty amazing and growing really fast. But then when I tried it with AI, if you have something very narrow and probably watered down to a demo state, it will give you a good test case and an automation scenario. But as soon as you go into a complex application that maybe they're not static locators or some third-party things on there, or iframes, or anything a little bit
right between the
anything a little bit more complex than just a demo page, it breaks. And every iteration when you try to fix things that it generated with the AI, it gets worse. So it keeps on making things more and more complex.
What about self-healing?
It's self-breaking. If something goes wrong at some point, it just gets worse with every iteration. So, I feel that AI is a great helper, helps you generating code and test cases, but you have to have someone actually managing it. It will increase your productivity, but you can't just have it writing things on its own, because it's just going to break stuff.
I agree absolutely, and you rightly stated Playwright, doing very well, and I see a lot of people migrating from Selenium Java into the Playwright, and definitely getting some traction, getting some popularity out there. And in the meantime, again, I'm a big fan of easy automation, not super complex automation. So tools like low code, scriptless, codeless automation tools, that's the way to do it. That's the way to go. Avoid all kind of dependency on very experienced people who you're praying God that they will not leave organization, and if they leave, then the whole framework will crash and nothing will happen. Rather than having those simple tools, UiPath, for example, one been pretty successful with this tool, which is scriptless, codeless automation tool, and actually we achieved a lot of great results there and a lot of good progress for the complex platforms and applications as well. So again, no coding whatsoever, allows you to pretty much increase productivity. And when we compare productivity with the scripted automation tools, it's 2x, 3x in terms of the number of scripts we able to produce per day versus Selenium, Java, for example, or Python or any other complex programming languages. But Playwright is really great. Again, I see your channel, and I just wanted to mention that as well. I mean, you're doing a fantastic job for our testing community. You're sharing a lot of knowledge and training for the guys, which is very, very good to see. And also you trying to help out people who looking for a job with any kind of advices. I saw some of your video, very interesting, where you actually show how many jobs are there in various of different industries, how many were there before. So it is pretty cool and definitely motivates people and give them a really good data points on what's the market looks like. So whatever you do, it's fantastic, and people should follow you. I just saw that you hit 15,000. I wish you to add another zero very soon at the end, and you'll get there. So slowly but surely
Thank you.
you get there. So good
Thank
job,
you.
Alex. I'm seeing, and not only me but other people seeing it as
Yeah,
well.
thank you so much. I've been in testing for a while, like 10 plus years and 15 years, and I've moved across industries, semiconductor, wireless, health, API, e-commerce, crypto, web-based gaming. So a lot of different industries, like financial industry. The idea like stays the same. You have to have a product that is better than competitor's product, so you can sell better. And quality engineer, like I have a story where I worked in a product in a company that did Wi-Fi chips, and manufacturing products, they hit market after some time. If you go and sell to like manufacturers, um, once they pass all of the regulations and when they go to the retail and commercial products, a couple years pass. So I have a story where I already left the company. I moved to a different state, and then I get a router through cable provider, and that router is the router that I worked on a couple years back. Was the chip that I have in it,
Mhm.
using it as a consumer. So like the understanding of the impact that you're doing on everyday lives of people. I mean, it's pretty amazing. So it's good to tell people about this and like inspire them. Learn this. It's gonna help you. It's gonna help people around you. Good quality is important. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right. So Ruslan, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure, and I'll have all the links in the description. And if someone wants to reach out, be it a person looking for a job or someone who's looking for testers, you can contact. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Yeah.
Yeah, I also wanted to point out, I saw also lately the latest course on Udemy on, for people who have no clue about testing. So you build that type of course there, which covers all necessary things, including, the API, the database, and various of different things. What, a newbie, need to have in order to enter QA world, right? So I saw actually, the syllabus there. It's pretty interesting. So again, my recommendation there, I personally didn't take the course, but just looking at what is inside the course is pretty cool, pretty interesting, and the latest things which are necessary out there. So a good, to consider. And hopefully market will change and people now a little bit skeptical, should they go to QA or not, right? That's kind of a dilemma for some people. Again, I feel things will get better. World will not be without the testers. So again,
Absolutely.
it's still, testing will continue and we'll still continue to learn. There will be new generation of testers and nothing will disappear. So no worries there.
Yeah, for sure. You can't have a product until someone actually tested it. It's
No.
ha- and in some industries it's actually illegal, so there will be jobs.
All right.
All right, thank you,
Thank you very
Ruslan.
much, Alex.
Yep,
Appreciate your discussion. It
thank
was
you.
very good discussion. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.
Bye bye.